Welcome into our Kroger Kickoff, and this is kind of a lifelong thrill for me. I've always wanted to hang out on game day here before the cocktail party with the Bulldog Club of Jacksonville, and today we're getting our chance to do that, and it has been an unbelievable scene around here over the course of the last several hours as the morning has played out. Talking to a lot of Georgia fans, and obviously, as you would expect, there is a ton of excitement about Georgia-Florida playing out here in Jacksonville. These folks obviously love the cocktail party, and they're reveling in a chance to be a part of that again. And yet there's also a certain somberness and reflection on the life of the legendary coach and athletic director Vince Dooley, who I'm sure by now you're aware passed away yesterday at the age of 90. And obviously the city, Jacksonville, means so much to Coach Dooley's legacy because of his series of wins against Florida, obviously his final game in the 1988, the Gator Bowl to end the 1988 season also took place here in Jacksonville. So it's hard not to think about this city without thinking a little bit about Coach Dooley, and that's what folks are doing. So as a part of our Kroger Kickoff today, before we go and get ready to watch the dogs and the cocktail party in a moment, we're going to try to do kind of both things there on that. And I was so thrilled to be invited to be a part of this with the Bulldog Club of Jacksonville today. They've kind of rolled out the red carpet for me. I've been a big fan of this club for a long time, and it's been really thrilling to be a part of this here today. I want to bring on some of the folks who are kind of tailgating here and kind of give you a little bit of a scene setter and kind of the sights and sounds of what's going on in Jacksonville. Our buddy William Berry is here. We'll bring him on. And, of course, William, how many of these cocktail parties you've had a chance to be at over the years?
This is my 35th cocktail party, and I got to tell you, the best one by far because of the Jacksonville Bulldog Club. I mean, this is the biggest Bulldog Club out of all of them, even Atlanta. So, I mean, it's just amazing the job that they do. And if anybody comes back to the cocktail party, they definitely need to hang out with the Jacksonville Bulldog Club.
And I know, William, you've been a Georgia fan for a long time, and I'm sure you, like a lot of Georgia fans, talking a lot about Coach Dooley today, what he meant, 90 years, very a long, storied life, and a lot of Georgia fans today kind of remembering that legacy, that career. When Coach Dooley comes to mind, what's one of the things that you think about when you think about him?
Well, I mean, his not just simplicity, but the fact that he was a fan of Georgia. And I'm out here today helping out with the Spike Squad Booster Club, you know, which is a grassroots effort that anybody can join. And that's the kind of thing that Coach Dooley, I think, embodied, was the students and their passion. And the Spike Squad kids get out there hours before the gates open in order to be on the front row to root on the dogs. And I think that they've kind of got the spirit of Coach Dooley because he was just that embodiment of what Georgia was all about. And the Spike Squad, I think, honors that.
And by the way, when William says he's out here on behalf of the Spike Squad, he really is. He's got the artifacts to prove it here. Oh, yeah. You got the official Spike Squad kind of shoulder pads here. Let's see if I can get these. I don't know if these are going to fit on my big head. There you go. Now it's there. Yeah. So now you are cocktail party official. Will I be able to get this back off my gigantic head again? We'll have to stay tuned for that.
Well, this gets you on the front row.
That's exactly right. So I'll paint my face. I'll be there and be a part of that. William, appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. And obviously we're having a great time with all of that. We'll bring on some other Georgia fans here there as well as Georgia fans kind of reflect here as a part of our Kroger Kickoff. Tell us your name and tell us how many of these Georgia-Florida games you've been at over the years.
Yeah, I'm Turner Spratling, and I've been at this Georgia-Florida game for over 15 years, so it's been a long time.
Wow, you've been coming a lot. So how are you feeling about today's game? How do you feel about whether it's going to play out? Georgia's obviously a very big favorite today. Do you think it's going to be that easy for these dogs?
It's a rivalry game, so it's really never that easy. But a 22.5-point favorite, I mean, you got to feel good about that for the dogs. But it's definitely a day of mixed emotions with Dooley and his passing. But it's going to be a special day for the dogs, but I feel good about them today on the field.
So I'm curious about this because, when I was a kid, Coach Dooley was the coach of Georgia at the time. You're a little bit younger than me. So for someone like you who maybe not quite old enough to remember Coach Dooley as a coach, at least I don't believe you were, yes. When you're not quite old enough to remember Coach Dooley as a coach, how has your understanding of him, how did you come to kind of appreciate the legacy that existed kind of maybe before you were old enough to be a fan?
That's a good question. So I grew up during the Mark Richt era. So, I heard a lot of those stories, went to a lot of those games, but you can't tell the story of Georgia football without Vince Dooley. So, just the history of him bringing all those SEC championships during his era, and of course the national championship in the 80s. You cannot tell the story without Vince. So he's a legend, and it's terrible to hear of his tragedy and his passing, but we remember him today, and all the stories of my father and my grandfather telling of the old days. you cannot tell the story of Georgia football without him. So he's part of Georgia lore forever.
Boy, I appreciate those words. Well said.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed the game today.
Thank you, Brandon.
For stopping by and being part of this. I'm also going to see if I can get these back off here. Let's see if I can do this. There you go. The live on air. For a while, I wasn't sure if they're going to come off or not, but obviously great stories there, hearing about what Coach Dooley has meant to so many of these fans here today, and we'll kind of keep the conversation going here or there as well, bringing Georgia fans on board here. And we got a great Georgia fan here. Tell folks your name and what your connection is to UGA. Certainly a very interesting backstory.
Yeah, so my name is Randy Walker. I'm from New Canaan, Connecticut. I'm the all-time losingest Georgia men's tennis player. 0-7 was my career record. I believe that myself and Greg McGarity, who was 0-1 as a Georgia tennis player, I think he and I share that distinction. So good company to be in. So.
No doubt about it. How many times you had a chance to be a part of this cocktail party celebration? How many Georgia-Florida games have you been to over the years?
Gosh, I don't know, maybe about 10 or so. My first was in 1989 when we beat Emmitt Smith in Florida back then. And
Emmitt Smith went 0-4 in his career, all-time leading rusher in the NFL, but 0-4 as a college player against Georgia. You love that, don't you?
Yeah, but I spent a lot of time in New York City. I go to American Whiskey in New York City. If you're ever in New York City, you should go to American Whiskey to watch a Georgia game. It's a great place. But now I'm spending a lot of time in Vero Beach, Florida.
How about that?
So it's about a 3-hour drive.
Formerly Dodger Town, USA. It's not that anymore, I don't think, but it used to be.
It's now also the home of Michael Pernfors, the two-time NCAA champion for tennis player for University of Georgia. So it's the home of the greatest Georgia tennis player and the worst Georgia tennis player, Michael and myself.
Well, obviously, your time with Georgia goes back a long way, and a lot of folks today also kind of remembering Coach Dooley and his legacy. When you think about Coach Dooley, this city, obviously a big part of that, his great success, 90 years, an incredibly long and storied life. How do you remember Coach Dooley in a day like this?
Well, one of my first memories of college football was on January 1st, 1980, growing up in New Canaan, Connecticut, and watching the Sugar Bowl and seeing Georgia win the national championship. And to me, even growing up in the metropolitan New York City area, Vince Dooley was just a mythic figure in college football. And, when I went to the University of Georgia, I'm like, wow, I'm here with Dan McGill was the tennis coach, and Vince Dooley. And 2 years when I was at Georgia, Vince Dooley was the coach. And after I played on the tennis team, I became the sports editor of the Red and Black and got to interview him a few times and met him a few times. So just an all-time class person and really just one of the mythic figures in college football. So we're going to miss you, Coach Dooley, but thank you for the memories and thank you for the great legacy.
I appreciate your great words. Thank you so much for stopping by and being a part of that. I also want to bring on one of our hosts here from the Bulldog Club of Jacksonville. First of all, you guys have been so incredibly kind and nice, Thomas. I certainly appreciate that so much. And I guess tell us a little bit about how it kind of came to be that this, club became so big and so storied. And I've grown up hearing stories about the Bulldog Club of Jacksonville, and you see the great logo of the dog with the gator in its mouth. How did kind of all this kind of grow to the point where it is right now? I'll let you step in a little closer to make sure we can get you in the camera.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so, BA, as you know, a lot of people don't realize that that these clubs that are here in Georgia and Florida and around the states of Georgia, back in the day, that was how the coaches knew about talent. So when the Jacksonville Bulldog Club was here, they would come down and we'd say, hey, you need to check out this kid over here at Mandarin or one of the schools. And now, of course, with the advent of rivals and some of these other things, that's not needed. So now the clubs are just more for fun for the fans. But we are the largest Bulldog Club in the United States. We're proud of that. We've been around since 1946. We do this every year. One of the things that we do here with our tailgate and parking, we actually support a scholarship that helps a North Florida student that is accepted to Georgia be able to afford the out-of-state tuition. So we try to save people from having to go to Gainesville.
Listen, that's the Lord's work right there. If you can keep anybody out of Gainesville, you've certainly done the Lord's work at that point in time.
Yes, but but we are so excited. Now, this is the first year that we've had you. I'm going to put you on the spot. We expect Brandon to be here every year from now on.
Hey, listen, you won't be able to get rid of me after this. We've had a great time today. We talked about this last January. You were a part of one of the shows we did and kind of extended that invitation, and I've wanted to do it since then. I knew how much fun it would be, and it's been a great time. This is really kind of like the epicenter of being a good Georgia fan, being, as we like to say, a Gator hater around here. This is kind of the epicenter of all that. It's a lot of fun.
We're right by the river. It's a great scene. You're out here with nothing but dog fans. We have a couple of Gators you probably saw walking in the background that come through here, but for the most part, this is Dog Nation out here.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And also, one of the things the Jacksonville Bulldog Club has there as well is a scholarship that is also in honor of Vince Dooley. And
Right. Yeah, the scholarship fund that I just mentioned. I thank you and rest in peace, Vince. But yes, the scholarship was named after Vince Dooley. I want to say in 2002, we changed the name because a lot of people were trying to honor Vince Dooley with plaques and stuff. And we said we want to do something bigger and better than that. So that scholarship is in his name from now on. And again, we support 4 students at all times that are North Florida students at the University of Georgia to help them with that out-of-state tuition.
Thomas Bolton from the Bulldog Club of Jacksonville, thank you so much for having us here today. It's been so much fun. We appreciate your hospitality, and we hope you enjoy the game today.
Hey, thank you.
Absolutely.
And go Dogs.
Absolutely. Thomas Bolton there for the Bulldog Club of Jacksonville. We got another Georgia fan coming over here there as well. And tell us your name and kind of tell us your thoughts about the game here today.
Logan Barrett, looking forward to it. My first time in Jacksonville. Just moved back from Australia where I was there with my wife. So excited to see Georgia, Florida. Hopefully big win for us. Love to see all the Gator fans leaving early. That would make me happy. But
listen, I love the idea of that. An empty stadium today, at least on the orange and blue half. That sounds like a pretty good way to conclude this afternoon.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be great from the first trip. And, honor Coach Dooley with a big win. That would be great.
Boy, I think that's a great way to say that. And I imagine, just based on the fact that there's been so much talk about Coach Dooley here today, that there's going to be a lot of emotion in the stadium. And I'm sure the players will feed off that and feel that. But there's no doubt there is a special level of remembrance in the air right now and a special sense of Coach Dooley's legacy and what he meant. Obviously 90 well-spent years. This is a guy that was incredibly active, incredibly involved in the Georgia community, really throughout the entirety of his life, including this season as well. And so I know the remembrances of him that are taking place today are certainly very fine.
Oh, yeah, and he, especially here in Jacksonville, had such a great record and, was such a big thing. So, hopefully the boys will use that to their advantage, and looking forward to a good game.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you being here. Enjoy it. And it's great to get a chance to speak to you.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. A lot of dog fans here as a part of the Bulldog Club of Jacksonville, hanging out and having a good time. And we're certainly thrilled about the hospitality we've been extended here today and want to give you a chance to get a sense of the Georgia fans who are hanging out here and having a good time and doing all of that. We certainly appreciate all of that. And obviously there's a big game taking place here today, and we'll take some of the take care of some of the business as it relates to that, too. It's our Kroger Kickoff here. We're live in Jacksonville, just steps away from the stadium, steps away from the famous Hart Bridge that you always see. The team drives across that bus, enters to the area around the stadium. We saw the Georgia players walk in about an hour or so ago, and obviously they had game faces on, getting ready to go, and we've got our game faces on for this there as well, our Kroger Kickoff here today. And, of course, don't forget, we're also only a couple of days away from Halloween there, too, and you can get stocked up on everything you need for Halloween with our friends at Kroger. Just simply go to Kroger.com/Halloween, learn more about that. All of the candy, the decor, everything that you need. You can get 20% off savings on that right now. So find that at your local Kroger, and you can get that there today and get ready for a great day coming up on Halloween on Monday. And, of course, we're hanging out here now, but on our way back home, at least I am because I got young kids. I'm on my way back home to get ready for all of that coming up certainly at the beginning of next week. We're also getting ready to see what happens on the field today between Georgia and Florida. And, of course, one of the stories for Georgia is the health of key players, and we'll kind of make this the subject now of our Dog Nation injury report presented by the Durham Law Group. And one thing I can tell you, as we saw the Georgia team arrive a little earlier, the Georgia defensive tackle Jalen Carter was spotted arriving with the team here a moment ago. If you check out the Dog Nation social channels, you may even see an image of that. But Carter was present, was here. I don't know what that means for his status as far as playing. I'm assuming that he's either not going to play or would still be incredibly limited. I'm not expecting Carter certainly to be a full go. And if I had to assume, I'm guessing he might not even play at all. But nonetheless, he was spotted. So we didn't make that trip, did travel. So that is worth noting. Also, Eric Gilbert was spotted traveling with Georgia there as well. His situation is not related to injury, and obviously he had a touchdown in Georgia's last game, but had not been traveling to away games prior to the game against Vanderbilt 2 weeks ago. So Gilbert was spotted here there as well. Not expecting A.D. Mitchell, the wide receiver, to play, and not really quite so sure when that is going to take place. Some Georgia fans had originally had this Florida game circled as a time in which he might come back, but as it stands right now, probably going to have to wait a little longer for Mitchell making his return for UGA. But it is at least interesting to note that Carter was seen here, and obviously return to full health for him is going to continue to be a very big story, but at least traveling with the team to Jacksonville, that is worth noting for today. And that is our injury report brought to you by the Durham Law Group. And if you've been hurt or injured in an accident, you need to be made whole. You need to be made right, and that's what the Durham Law Group wants to do for you. They don't just practice personal injury law, they define it. And one of the ways in which they do that is no fees, no expenses unless you win. That's the commitment they want to make to you. And certainly you'll be very happy about having someone who's just as vested in the outcome as you are when it comes to your personal injury situation. So trust the Durham Law Group on all of that. You can also give them a call at 844-4GA-HURT. That's 844-4GA-HURT. Or you can find them online at GeorgiaHurt.com. That is GeorgiaHurt.com. So it's our Kroger Kickoff. We're live here with the Bulldog Club of Jacksonville. It's been a fun tailgate here today. A lot of Georgia fans all around having themselves a great time. And, of course, a lot of the weather right now kind of playing out the way that we were sort of led to believe that it might. Our friend Ella Dorsey from Atlanta News First had a great forecast that you may have seen this week at DogNation.com. And she also joined us on our R.S. Andrews Cool Down on Friday at the conclusion of Dog Nation Daily. And, of course, as a part of our Kroger Kickoff each and every game, we let Ella tell us the expectation for the weather. And Ella's also a big dog fan, so we like talking some UGA and just some sports in general with her. So let's do that right now as a part of our R.S. Andrews weather report. It has been overcast all day long, really no rain as of yet, and maybe it's going to hold off, but certainly it's been overcast throughout the day. And for more on what to expect from the weather, let's check in with Ella Dorsey from Atlanta News First as a part of our R.S. Andrews weather report. Let's take a look at that right now.
Just a whole lot of St. Simons when I was in school. We went down to Georgia, Florida every single year. That was when Frat Beach was still a thing, which is probably really bad for the environment, but a really fantastic time.
I know the locals hated it. The locals hated it. I know that. They kind of cracked down on that a few years ago, didn't they?
But if you haven't ever gone to the Frat Beach, it was a good time, okay?
For sure.
Yeah, I went to Georgia, Florida all 5 years that I was in school. I did a little victory lap and had a little fifth year.
As all the good ones do, by the way. As all the good ones do. You got to find a way to enjoy it.
You know what? I was taking – I had Hope Scholarship, but I was like, Mom, this is going to cost you like $600. So can we just – please let me just do one more semester.
That is a smart decision.
Went to Georgia, Florida. It's fantastic. I think there's a lot more people now that would like it to be more of a – Athens to Gainesville type switch up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think many people nowadays really agree with going to Jacksonville, which at the time when I was in school, I loved going down there because it was like a little beach trip. But now that I'm out of school, I would love to have Florida come to Athens every other year.
Well, it seems like that's kind of growing in popularity, as you said, the idea of you'd play home and home. But as long as I can fight to keep the cocktail party, I just kind of want to do it. Here's my thing, Ella. It's like, and I'm in a stage of my life now where I don't get to go for very long. Like I'm going to be at the game for like 24 hours. This is not like a full weekend celebration for me the way it would have been years ago.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, like who wouldn't want to go to the beach in October, right? I mean, like that in itself is all you really need to know. Whether it's St. Simons or Amelia Island or even like some of the people who go to like Jacksonville Beach, like who wouldn't want to be beautiful weather, perfect conditions, maybe not Saturday, but generally speaking, like who wouldn't want to have that as a part of their weekend's worth of enjoyment? So if we can hold on to the cocktail party a little bit longer, that's what I'm going to fight to do.
You're going to hold on to it. Okay. I'm glad to know your stance. And usually the weather is fantastic. Like usually it's crisp and cool in the morning and lots of sunshine. It's not going to be that way this weekend. So for all of the fans going down, here's the good news. I've been looking at the models. I don't think it's going to rain. Okay. So that is the good news. There's some showers in the area right now, and there probably is going to be showers in the vicinity and off the coast. But it doesn't look like it's going to rain in Jacksonville. So that is the good news. If you are in St. Simons, you may see a little shower activity early on Saturday morning. But because it's going to be cloudy, it's also going to be really mild. Like tailgating temperatures will be in the upper 60s. At kickoff, it'll be 75. End of the game, it'll be 73. So you might need a light jacket, but it's not going to be cold. And, from my experience there's some years where Saturday morning it's really chilly.
That's right.
So that's not going to be a problem at all. Do want to note for the fans who are driving down, the drive back on Sunday does look pretty rainy. So give yourself extra time. Take it slow on the roads, especially once you start getting into North Georgia. Once you pass Macon, you're going to see
you just stay an extra day.
Showers.
Maybe just stay an extra day. Maybe Ella Dorsey's giving you permission to sort of make it a longer weekend.
Don't drive back till Monday.
I like that. That's
Yeah, exactly. Stay till Halloween and then drive back, and you'll be good to go.
So I'm curious of this because I go down to this part of the world a lot, and it seems like when you're on that coast, like the weather changes a lot, right? And maybe I'm not a meteorologist, maybe I'm wrong about this, but it's like you wake up in the morning, you're trying to decide, well, is it going to rain or not? And I don't know. It just seems like with the coastal stuff, you have a lot of like conditions changing very fast, maybe more so than you have here in Atlanta, where you're a little closer, more like landlocked, I guess. Is that really true, or does that just sort of seem true to me?
Yeah, no. So that's all caused by the differences between the temperatures over the ocean and over the water, or over the ocean and over the land. So this time of year, believe it or not, the ocean is actually sitting at about 72, 74 degrees. So the water right over the ocean is actually, or the air right over the ocean is actually warmer. Meanwhile, the air over land is a little bit cooler. And the differences in those temperatures cause a sea breeze, which I'm sure you've heard about.
Yeah.
That sea breeze brings showers ashore at different times in the year, especially in the summer when there's a greater temperature difference. It's really hot over land and cooler over water. That can cause those afternoon storms that you see at the beach a lot. But, this time of year, the average high down there is 70 degrees and the water temperature is 70 degrees. So because there's not very much difference in the temperatures between land and ocean, you're not really going to see afternoon storms roll in, which is really interesting, right?
It is interesting. So let me also ask you this. How you feeling about the game on Saturday? You feel confident in Georgia? Have you seen enough to feel like they can kind of march their way through this and get ready for Tennessee on Saturday? You feel okay about that right now?
So if we were back in Mark Richt era, right?
Yep.
This would be a game I'd be worried about because I would feel like the guys were already looking ahead to Tennessee and they weren't focused on this game and they might slip up, right? Sure. But it's Kirby, and Kirby is not going to let those guys think like that. This game is the most important game we play until we play the next game, right? Sure. So I'm not really worried about it.
All right, so great stuff there from Ella Dorsey, Atlanta News First. A little bit of update on the weather, and it's always fun to talk some dogs with Ella there as well. We appreciate that. It's our R.S. Andrews weather report, and of course we appreciate R.S. Andrews being a part of what we're doing there as well. You can find them online, rsandrews.com. They'll take care of your air conditioning, heating, plumbing, electric needs. They'll show up on time, do the work that's promised, the price that's promised. If your water heater goes out, in many cases they can replace it for you the same day. So you're going to find them online, rsandrews.com. They'll take care of that for you. Thanks for being here as part of our Kroger Kickoff. Great remembrances of Coach Dooley, of course, and great excitement about Georgia, Florida on the field. And speaking of that, after the game is over, we'll be on the field with you there as well, talking about what happens, hopefully a big win. Gator haters having plenty to celebrate and be happy about. This is the one we all circle. This is the one we've all been waiting for, a chance to beat up on those lousy, stinking Gators again. So we're all about that and can't wait to do it. We'll talk to you after the game. Stay close to Dog Nation throughout the day there as well. Connor Riley, Mike Griffith, their coverage from inside the stadium. Breaking news, injury-related information, whatever takes place, we got it for you on Dog Nation. And, of course, after the game with Terrence Edwards and your calls there as well as part of our Dog Nation post-game show presented by the UGA Bookstore. We'll look forward to talking to you then.